Hey guys, welcome back to the Cow Emporium and the big garden. Woo! So in probably one of the last videos you saw us prepping these beds. You can see those ones over here still aren't quite prepped. But today we're going to be planting some carrots in the first bed. And so we're not going to be planting quite half of that today. And so when Glenn comes back with his makeshift planting rake, because you know it's our first year doing this and we don't want to spend the big money on planting tools. In fact, he spent a whopping $3 or $4 on the seed planter the other day. It has adjustable settings on there depending on what size of seed you have, so we might try this. But with this style of gardening, there are only 5 carrots per row.
So that's a dedicated carrot spacer there. I don't know how it'll work, but our spacing will be, so we'll use that on all our carrots. And I'll just tie it either with some wire, some string or something onto the rake just to mark it out.
Okay. Everywhere there's a divot, there needs to be a carrot seed.
So where do you want me to seed?
You seed those 3 rows over there.
1, 2, 3 with.
It's not quite roughly half that first bed, but it's what we got for today. Yesterday we put in carrots in this first bed, and today we're planting onions. I got some onions from seed and also onion sets. You see them down further below in the garden, and it's going great. I am so excited. First little bit of this onion row is going to be Walla Walla onions, and everywhere that there is a corner that meets, right here, there's going to be 3 onion seeds put in together. But this is, these are pretty good size onion seed actually. So right here, in this corner, oh my gosh, this gives me all the vibes of planting garlic last fall. Okay, so I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3 together. Boom, done.
Down.
The onion sets come pre-started, and so you just want to make sure that you plant the root end down and not the top part. We chose to plant 3 onion sets together in the corner of each 10-inch square because the 3 onions growing together will make it easier to weed that onion patch, according to the Market Gardener book. Last but not least, some yellow onion sets. We're going to plant these all because we want these to be mature onions at the end of the season for storage. per row.
3.
Oh, there's a bee. Bee. Just chilling out in the dirt, eh, Zip? You good boy. Just a little update later in this video. It's 2 weeks now since we planted these beds. As you can see, the radishes are starting to pop up over yonder in the next bed. The onion sets are starting to come up. We have spinach and kale coming up and turnips. Won't be long. Now, let's see about those potatoes. This is our lineup of potatoes. Because, well, we'll talk about that potato garden in a minute. Or in a separate video, I'm not sure. So we've already planted some potatoes. And one of the reasons we wanted to move the bed was because we deal with scab. And we wanted to put them somewhere they've never ever been. That kind of didn't work out for us. So the potatoes we're planting this year, a couple of the varieties are susceptible to scab, and a couple are not so susceptible to scab. So we planted some Yukon Golds down this row, and Glenn goes along and digs a hole for me about a foot apart. And with the Yukon Gold potatoes, I poured some molasses water in with each potato cut because I read somewhere that that was a good thing to do to stop diseases, because what happens is the potato water encourages other bacteria to come in, or molasses water encourages other bacteria to come in, which fights off the bacteria that causes scab. Russet Burbank potatoes are extremely disease resistant. They're gonna go in this row. The pink Amorosa, never grown these, but I thought they looked beautiful. They're gonna grow in this row that Glenn is just forking right now. And down here, I kind of ripped the top off of it, but these are red Pontiac potatoes, and they also are not resistant to disease very well. So what I did with this row is I threw a handful of peat moss under each potato piece. So we'll see how this goes. Let's plant some potatoes. If you've never planted potatoes before, you would take your seed potato and you would make sure that had at least 2 good eyes on it. This one has lots of eyes. So I'm going to cut it up and I'm going to put it in the container to plant. That one's going in whole. So here is my potatoes that I cut, and sometimes I just left them whole. I left that one whole. So here, let's go put them in the ground. When you're putting the potatoes in, it doesn't really matter necessarily if you put the sprout side up or not. That's okay. Sort of set it in there. Glenn's watered these beds a little bit, so they feel pretty soft. Actually, these kind of beds feel a little soft when you're walking on them anyway. Nice. These aren't my favorite kind of potato, but if they're disease resistant, then that might have to be what we grow. Here's what it looks like with the potatoes in the ground. This is the russet Burbanks, and this one is that pink Amorosa. We have room for one more row in between this string right here and the pink Amorosa. So we're going to do that, and then we'll have 4 50-foot rows, which I know isn't a lot, but that's what I grew last year, and I still have some left over, and I did include a bunch in the garden boxes, so it's not what I was hoping for, but that's okay. It's gonna be fine. Glenn's got some drip irrigation set up for our newly seeded potatoes. And exciting, these potatoes in here are the very last of our first seed sowing. So what I mean by that is it's been 2 weeks since we seeded our first stuff in here. So we'll get a second generation of those seeds going. And yeah, I can't believe it. Yay! I'm super excited. Okay, so the last of these potatoes are fingerling potatoes. And I'll dump it out here so you can see. I Hail Mary bought a box of these to seed at the end of last season. And on the box it said, not suitable for reseeding. So I think they meant that you shouldn't take your potatoes you grew like I did and reseed them. But something tells me that they're gonna grow, guys. I don't know what it is. Could be those long sprouts on them. Anywho, I have so many, so let's get them in the ground. These were beautiful and delicious. One potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4, 5 potato, 6 potato, 7 potatoes, and more